Well, welcome to another edition of Trailblazer Tuesday at the Preferred Adventure Center. I'm Andy. We're going to talk a little bit today about how strong we are as people, that we're able to do something relatively pretty well. And that thing is, we're able to break resolutions and goals that we have, usually in about the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year. So I'm looking at a Business Insider survey research part. 48% of people who start their New Year's resolutions in the first 2 to 3 weeks of January give up. So already, we're 2 weeks into the year, half of us almost give up. And then also, 80% of us give up by the second week of February. So what that leads to is at the end of the year, about 8% of the people actually follow through with their New Year's resolutions. So we want to talk about why that is, and then what we can do to not be part of the 92% that fail. So before we get into the little exercise that we've got here, and I've got some spiral notepads for everybody in the room to kind of work on this a little bit. You're more than welcome to do it. Don't feel obligated to. But so first we're going to talk a little bit about goals and what they are. And we're going to get specific and talk about SMART goals. I'm sure that you've all heard the acronym SMART goals. SMART goals is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So we'll use a goal that I have this year. One of the goals that I have this year is I want to read 50 books this year, read or listen to 50 books this year. So if I would have just said, my New Year's resolution is I want to read more, it's a goal, right? I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to read more, but what do I want to read more? I'm going to get specific. I want to read more books. I want to read measurable. I want to read 50 books. Is it achievable? Is the next question. The average CEO in this country reads between 60 and 70 books a year. So we know that it can be done. Is it realistic? The way I read and the way I listen, I need about an hour a day to get that in. So I know that it's realistic and timely, that it's in a year, within a year's time. So I want to read 50 books by the end of this year. So one of the common traits is out of that out of the 8% of the people who made it, 80% of them did one thing. And does anybody have an idea what those are? The one thing in common, they wrote it down. As simple as writing their goal down, because a goal not written down is just a wish, okay? So we've got a little bit of an exercise that you can kind of start on. I won't have enough time for you to finish it, but this is something I've learned to do this year. It's come kind of from a couple different books that I've read. One of them is The Miracle of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy, is where a lot of this material came from. But what we're going to do is I want you guys to take the first page, open your book up, and for you who are watching, everybody's got a spiral notebook in front of them. So what we're going to do is I want you to write a list 1 through 10 on the paper. And on that list of 1 through 10, I want you to write down 10 goals that you want to accomplish. Okay, now here's the thing that about why there's 10. First of all, the first 3 or 4 or 5 are probably going to be pretty easy. You know, whether it's a health goal or a financial goal, and it doesn't have to be anything, mountainous. It can be, I want to spend more time with my kids on Saturday mornings, or whatever the case may be. These don't have to be very large goals, but there's a reason why I want you to do at least 10 of those. So, kind of moving forward, the next time when you get through these 10 goals, what I want you to do for those next 10 pages is write on top of the next page each one of those 10 goals. Okay? So this is the first part of the exercise. And when we get done with this, I'm going to show you what you can do for 3 minutes a day, maybe 3 minutes, if that, to help you realize your goals throughout the year. So after you get your goals written down, you've got your 10 goals, the next thing you want to do is on each page at the top, you write on the next page, you write your goal 1, okay? And then underneath that, you put 10 more lines again, or you write 1 through 10 again. And what you need to do is write the 10 things that you need to do to accomplish that goal. So, whether, like for me, for reading my books, what that's going to be is, for one, I got to find books to read, right? It was easy to find my first 6 or 7 books, but now I'm actually got to actively look for it. So I do things like ask people that I talk to or that I'm interested in getting to know about, what are they reading? I also look at the New York bestseller list and on the types of books that I want to read and see what's trending. And just casual conversation. I make it a point when I meet somebody and we're in deep conversation, ask them, hey, what are you reading? So those are things that I do that I know that I got to do every day. I got to read an hour a day. So these are things that I need to do to accomplish that goal. And what happens in that little spot is that you no longer just have a goal, now you've got a plan. So you've got these different ways that you can actually reach that goal. So you've got these things you can do. And then, so after that, you've got your 10 goals, and you've got your 10 things you need to do for those goals. So that's the longest part of this whole exercise for the year. That's it. So you just got to do that the first time. But then, this is part of the things that I do every day. I have a routine that I start every single day. And one of those is I open up my notebook every single morning. I write down 1 through 10, actually 1 through 11, because I actually have 11 goals that I'm working on. And from memory, not looking at the day before, but from memory, I write out the goals in present tense. So it's not that I'm going to read, I've read 60 books. I've done this. I've made this. I've accomplished this. And I write that down every single day. And what that does is one of two things. One is, over time, you will realize what your top 4 or 5 goals are out of that 10, because they're going to be the ones that you write the first time. They're going to be the ones that you constantly write towards the top, whether it's that important goal. So what that tells you is that's where you need to spend most of your time, because those are the goals that are most important to you. But then the other thing it accomplishes is that you have your goals staring at you in the face every single day. You're holding yourself accountable. You're the one that wrote those goals down. It's not somebody else is telling you what to do. Those are things that you are seeing every single day. And if you have trouble with those, if you're looking at those and saying, gosh, I really am trying to do this, but I can't, then you fall back to the beginning. And just go back to your plan. These are the 10 things that I need to do to accomplish that goal. And if you do that every single day, you have an 80% chance, a higher chance of reaching those goals than what the people that didn't have failed. So it's really all it is. It's a simple thing, something to try. I've been doing it for about 5 weeks now, and it's been awesome. I feel like I'm on pace with just about every goal that I have, and I'm starting to realize which ones are more important. So I hope you got a little bit out of that. Once again, thank you for joining us for Trailblazer Tuesday, and remember that life is not going to be a walk in the park. So don't just go on a walk, go on an adventure.